In June of 2001, the Howland family, David, his wife Emily, and their two children, Joshua and Lily, set out on a road trip to Yellowstone National Park. They were an ordinary family from Minnesota, nature lovers who enjoyed camping, picnics, and exploring together. They traveled in an old van and planned to spend a week in the park. The last confirmed sighting of the family was at the Indian Creek campground, where they set up a tent for the night. Other campers recalled them as cheerful and friendly. But the next morning, no one saw them again. 2 days later, when the family was supposed to leave, park rangers found their van parked near the Fairy Falls trailhead. Inside were all their belongings: passports, cash, food, and even a camera with undeveloped film. The photos told a normal story: a smiling family posing in front of geysers. But the final photo was disturbing: a blurry, dark figure standing between the trees in the distance. It wasn't shaped like any known animal. It looked too tall, too human, too shadowy. Part 2. The search. Search efforts began immediately. Helicopters sent tracking dogs, and dozens of volunteers combed the area. Nothing. No signs of a struggle. No torn clothes. No blood. Only one thing was found. 300 meters off the trail, on top of flat rock, sat a small toy bear, Lily's favorite. It had been placed there deliberately, like someone wanted it to be found. The FBI took over the case due to the bizarre nature of the disappearance. Special Agent Morrison, the lead investigator, later said in a private interview, "It was one of those cases where you start to realize either you're missing something big or you're dealing with something that doesn't fit in our world." The legends. Local rangers spoke of old native legends. The Shoshone people once called this area Zawina, meaning the land where voices don't return. They told stories of a forest spirit called the Thin Man, a shadow that lured wanderers into the trees and made them disappear. Some claimed they heard voices in the woods that night, not screams of pain, but children's voices calling for help, and then going silent. A few even claimed to have seen something in the woods, a towering shape, not quite human, watching from the shadows. A return? 15 years later, in 2016, a hiker from Ohio stumbled upon something strange along the same Fairy Falls trail. A child's shoe, small and moss-covered but remarkably well-preserved. DNA testing revealed it belonged to Lily Howland. But it was impossible. The shoe looked like it had only been in the forest for a few months. Authorities called it an old artifact, possibly misplaced, but Agent Morrison, now retired, said in a podcast interview, "Yellowstone hides things. Some of them are still out there. Some of them are alive. And some of them are still waiting." The man who came back. In the summer of 2021, exactly 20 years after the Howland family vanished, a man was found wandering near the southern border of Yellowstone, near the Shoshone Lake region. He was barefoot, dressed in old, torn clothes, and had a long, unkempt beard. Locals said he looked confused, almost feral, as if he hadn't seen civilization in years. When park rangers approached him, he muttered only one thing over and over again: "They're still there. They never left." He was taken into custody for his own safety and brought to a local hospital in Jackson, Wyoming. After some days of care and psychological evaluation, authorities were shocked when his fingerprints came back with a match. David Howland. According to official records, David had been missing and presumed dead for 2 decades. But this man, now in his late 50s, matched him perfectly: DNA, dental records, everything. The media went wild. How could he have survived in the wild for 20 years? And most importantly, where was the rest of his family? Part 6. The interview. David remained silent for several days, speaking only in fragments. Eventually, under supervision, he agreed to be interviewed by federal agents. His testimony was chilling. "It's not a place you can find on a map," he whispered. "It's beneath the ground, between the trees, like it's in the cracks of the world. You don't find it. It finds you." When asked about Emily, Joshua, and Lily, he broke down. According to him, the family was taken by something he couldn't describe, something that looked human but wasn't. It watched them from the woods, mimicked their voices, and whispered to the children at night. He said the thing didn't kill them. It kept them somewhere else, somewhere cold, dark, and outside of time. "I escaped because it let me go," he said. Or maybe it just wanted someone to tell the story, the ending, or not. Psychiatrists believe David suffered from extreme trauma and possibly delusions due to long-term isolation. But wilderness experts were stunned. No human could have survived that long in Yellowstone without being seen. And then there was the final, most disturbing detail. A nurse who cared for David during his hospital stay said he often stared out the window at night. Once, she asked what he was looking for. He answered without blinking, "She follows me, Lily." But it's not her anymore. A week later, David Howland disappeared from the hospital without a trace. Security footage showed nothing. 1 minute he was in bed, the next gone. Only one thing was found: a small stuffed bear placed neatly on his empty bed. The final descent. Journalist Maya Greer had been following the Howland case for over 5 years. She'd written articles, interviewed retired Agent Morrison, and even visited the Fairy Falls Trail herself. But after David Howland's mysterious reappearance, and even more mysterious second disappearance, something shifted in her. She had to go back. Alone. In October 2022, Maya entered Yellowstone with a camera, a satellite phone, and a recorder. Her last message to her editor was short: "If I don't call you in 48 hours, contact the rangers. I think I know where he went." She never called. Part 9. Maya's recordings. 3 days later, her satellite phone pinged briefly, long enough to upload one audio file before going dark forever. The contents of the file were deeply unsettling. It began with the crunching of footsteps on dead leaves and Maya whispering, "I found it. There's an opening like a crack in the hillside. It's not on any map. I swear, I feel cold air coming from it." Then silence. For a long time. Then breathing. Ragged, terrified. I saw her. I saw Lily. She's older now, but her eyes aren't right. She smiled at me, but it wasn't a child's smile. It was hungry. There's a rustling sound. A high-pitched noise, not quite human. Then Maya whispers one final sentence. "It's not just them down here. It's hundreds." The recording ends abruptly. Part 10. Aftermath. Maya Greer was declared missing. Her camera was found by rangers 2 weeks later, just off the main trail, completely intact. The last photo on the SD card was dark, seemingly taken in a cave. But when enhanced by analysts, a blurry figure became visible in the background. It looked like a child standing in the shadows. But its limbs were too long. Its mouth was too wide, and its eyes glowed. The photo was never released to the public. As of today, 22 people have gone missing in the same sector of Yellowstone over the past 30 years, most of them never found. The area near Fairy Falls has quietly been closed off under the excuse of erosion and wildlife protection. But those who know the story, those who followed the trail of David Howland, Lily, and Maya Greer, whisper a different reason. They say something ancient lives beneath Yellowstone, and every few years it reaches out and takes someone back.